This is Orange Nation Overtime with Steve Infanti and Paulie Scibilia.
Welcome in Orange Nation Overtime, everyone, alongside Paulie Scibilia. I'm Steve Infanti. We are back from having a few days off, and it's starting to feel like football season, Paulie. Week 2 of camp now. The team just practiced in full pads yesterday for the first time. Off today. They'll practice the rest of the week. They've got their first scrimmage on Saturday, closed-door scrimmage, as they work to finalize the depth chart. And we're, 3 weeks away. 3 weeks from Saturday is the opener against New Hampshire.
Isn't it wild, though, Steve? We're 3 weeks away, and I thought it would change this year that you can't play an exhibition game in football to get ready.
You think it should change? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, don't you think it's weird?
That's essentially what New Hampshire is, but yeah.
Yeah, but don't you think it's weird that they can't just go practice against somebody?
I think you are going to see that moving forward. The fact that, these guys are getting paid like employees now. They're getting paid like NFL players. The NFL players get, 3 preseason games to ramp up for the season. I do think you're going to see it. And Fran Brown tried to make it happen with Deion Sanders, where, Syracuse wanted to scrimmage Colorado last year and then again this year, and it wasn't allowed. I think sooner rather than later, that's going to be allowed.
Yeah, even if you share a camp. You go 1 week and you share a camp with another team.
And that was their idea, right? It was they were going to practice against each other. They were also going to have some, different programs
for financial stuff.
Like financial stuff, off the field stuff to get the guys ready for a career. And we know that Fran and Deion are tight. My guess is that's going to happen at some point. But it just has not happened yet. We had Mike McAllister on our show today. There was no show yesterday. He's normally on with us on Wednesdays. He appeared on the show today, and we talked all things SU football and camp and looking ahead to the 2026 season. And we let him off by getting his thoughts first and foremost on the defense. Vince Karras, the new defensive coordinator over from Toledo, and he is talked glowingly about the defensive line and the fact that they're deeper at that position now, and that's where we led Mike off today.
Yeah, I feel better with Vince Karras saying what he did on Friday. That certainly is encouraging because we know he's a really good defense coordinator. He knows his stuff, and I don't think he would just say that unless he really meant it. So that is certainly encouraging. But, we can only go by what we see, and there's a lot of players that we haven't seen play and that haven't played Power 4 football. So there's still going to be question marks, I think, going into the season. And even after game 1, they could have 8 sacks, 9 sacks, 10 sacks against New Hampshire. And we're still not going to know a ton because of the level of competition. So I think starting in week 2, we'll start to really get a feel for whether or not that unit is as improved as everyone hopes that it is.
One of the other issues on that side of the ball was the lack of turnovers forced. They didn't force a lot of turnovers last year, and Vince Karras said that that's going to be a priority this year. Do you feel as though they've got the playmakers on the back end, with the Chris Peels and Demetrius Samuels, so on and so forth, to do just that?
Yeah, I think they did last year, too. It's just, part of the way that you force turnovers is by forcing the opposing offense into mistakes. And when you can't pressure the quarterback and you have a hard time stopping the run, you can't get them into scenarios where you can force them into mistakes, put some pressure on them, have them make a bad decision, have the quarterback throw a pass that he shouldn't, or get a strip sack, etc. Pressure on the quarterback sort of accomplishes everything that they struggled with last year. You get them into second and longs, third and longs, and then you can really tee off on the quarterback and gives those guys on the back end more of a chance to create those opportunities.
When you look at the linebacking unit on defense, you've got Chris D'Apollonia, who followed Vince Karras over from Toledo. You've got Antoine Delorier back. A lot of people are excited about Jameis Saki, the freshman who seems to be making a name for himself here in the preseason through the first week of camp. It seems like a unit that is better off than it was a year ago. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I think they're deeper. They have good experience there as well. And I think bringing a guy like D'Apollonia over from Toledo helps with the new guys and learning the system, specifically at that position group, right? Because he can talk them through what the expectations were when he was at Toledo and how to read certain things and what certain, calls mean and how to adjust in other situations. He can go through some of those specifics with those guys to help bring them along in the system. And, of course, when you've got a guy like Antoine Delorier who flashed a ton last year, beat out a veteran in Derek McDonald to earn a starting spot. And I think everyone is very excited about what he's going to be before his career's over. You got him coming back. You got the freshman making plays. It certainly seems on paper like it's in a much better spot than what it was last year.
All right, on the other side of the ball, we know Steve Angeli's back. What is realistic? I think, people remember Kyle McCord leading the country in passing yards, and Steve Angeli was, at the top of all those statistical categories as well through 4 games, and then he got hurt. Is that realistic to think that he's going to contend for that kind of title again, the passing title in the country? What's a realistic benchmark, I guess, for him coming off that injury from a year ago?
Well, I remember when you and I were discussing things in the preseason last year, and I can't remember whether it was on this program or the Orange Nation television show or a pregame radio show, but at some point we were discussing Steve Angeli and how he compares to Kyle McCord, and I think I said multiple times, it's unrealistic to expect him to lead the nation in passing like Kyle McCord did. And then through 4 games, he was. So I'm not going to put that as an impossibility. I think to have that as your base expectations is probably not fair to just about anybody. But I think to expect he's going to put up big numbers, he's going to run the offense efficiently, having a full off season in this system, even though some of it was rehabbing. I think all of that helps him so that he can hit the ground running when the season starts.
He needs guys to throw to, and he's got no shortage of options this year, it seems like. We just, kind of like what we were saying on defense, that they've got depth, but, we haven't seen a lot of these guys in action. Who do you expect to kind of emerge from a wide receiver perspective?
Yeah, I think Darian Williams is someone I'm certainly keeping an eye on as someone that could break out this year. I know the coaching staff was very high on him. He played as a freshman last year, and so now, going into year 2, and there's an opportunity to make a lot of plays and to get a lot of targets this year. I think Bowie Johnson is another guy. Last year he showed some flashes, had a really good spring game, and then he got hurt, unfortunately, which derailed his freshman season. But he's someone I could see breaking out this year and having a really strong year. And then Cole Weaver from Miami of Ohio is someone I heard had a really good spring. So those are kind of the 3 I'm keeping my eye on the most. But a veteran like Amari Hatcher, you can't count him out, and the experience that he brings, and being a steady, solid option for Steve Angeli. So they're probably going to have 5 or 6 guys that are rotating in and out at different points.
Last year Angeli went down, and they had trouble throwing the ball, and as a result, then they had trouble running the ball. And if you can't run the ball, you can't throw the ball, and it was like a vicious cycle, right? This year, what do you make of the running back room, and do you think that they will get enough production to take some of the pressure off the passing game and open things up a little bit?
Yeah, I think it's going to be more of a committee approach, right? I mean, you look a couple of years ago and it felt like it was LaQuint Allen and everybody else, right? And then this year it felt like it was mainly C. Willis and then some Will Nixon, and didn't really know after that. It feels like this year you're going into it with 3 or 4 guys that have the potential to make an impact. I think Ahmad Miller is the guy who I kind of had as my favorite going into camp as earning the starting job, but he's going to get carries. Jawan Johnson's going to see the field. I think Tyleek Hill, I know the coaching staff really likes him. He's going to see the field. And then you got a freshman like Shavane Anderson, who coaching staff is really high on his potential. So I think those 4 guys all have the potential to get snaps this year. I'm just not sure you're going to have a situation like with LaQuint a couple of years ago where it's like we know he's going to get 20-plus carries basically every single game.
How about the guys up front? We said that the biggest question mark on defense is in the trenches. I think we can all agree that it probably is on offense as well. A lot of guys back from last year from that unit. How do you feel about the offensive line going into 2026?
Better than I did last year, and part of that is development of some of the guys that have been there, right? Byron Washington, we know, played a lot as a true freshman last year. We know how huge he is physically, and so he's going into year 2, and I feel better about him knowing who the offensive line coach is, and the fact that he evaluated who they had and didn't say, hey, we need a complete turnover because we just don't have enough players here at up front in order to compete. They didn't do that. They brought in 1 transfer. Otherwise, it was, pretty much just teaching the guys that they have there. And so that made me encouraged that they like the talent, that he likes the talent, the guy with that much experience. So, I think you got a guy like Joe Cruz moving into the center position. Travion Mack, I've heard good things about throughout the spring and throughout this early training camp. So, I think they're going to be okay, but, proof's going to be in the pudding from what we see the first couple of games.
You think this team's getting to a bowl game this year?
I do. I think they're going to be back in bowl contention, and if you ask the coaching staff that, they're obviously going to say their goals are much higher than that. But for our purposes, you start with a bowl game and you get there as quickly as you can, and then see where you're at and how many wins you can get, and kind of what your aspirations are at that point. But you look at the schedule, you look at a team like, you got to go play at Virginia. Virginia was in the ACC championship game last year, but they also lost their quarterback. They lost a bunch of players. So, are they going to take a step back? We don't know. So, there's a bunch of games that are quote unquote toss-up games, but a lot of those teams have a lot of question marks around them. And so, I think the game against Cal could be a significant swing game for Syracuse. If they can figure out a way to pull that game off, then, they could gain some momentum and see what they can do after that.
Yeah, Paulie and I have been talking about that Cal game for a little bit here. We've got that one circled in our minds.
Yes, Steve, we have.
Yes.
It's on the bulletin board.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that's a huge swing game. If you win that one, you're set up for success. If you lose that one, you're going to have to make it up somewhere along the way to get to a bowl game. As long as we've got you, Mike, anything from a recruiting standpoint, either football or basketball, that we should be aware of?
Yeah, Syracuse got a couple of commitments on the football standpoint recently. Chima... his last name is escaping me at the moment, but he's an offensive lineman. He plays in Maryland. He's 6'9", 300 pounds, ran a 4.8 at Okechukwu is his last name. He ran a 4.8 40 for Syracuse, and at 6'8", 6'9", 300 plus pounds, that's pretty impressive. So that's someone with a lot of potential. It could be a defensive lineman that we see making an impact for Syracuse in the near future. The interesting thing about him is he's originally from Nigeria. He moved to New Zealand at 15 years old because he got a scholarship to play basketball, and then just moved to the United States last year to transition and play football, and hasn't played any organized high school football yet. So this will be his first season doing that, and then he'll be going from that right up to Syracuse next season. And then Perry Eliano's kid, Amari Eliano, who's a two-way athlete, plays wide receiver and defensive back in Ohio. He committed to Syracuse over this past weekend as well.
And then we've got Jack Donahue set to join us. Well, we interviewed him last week, but we're going to play it back coming up at 1 o'clock. 6'8" forward who's playing his prep ball in Boston right now, originally from the Albany area. He's committed to Jerry in the class of 2027. Anything you can tell us about him?
Yeah, 6'8" guy who can really shoot it. And I know some people have looked at it and said, oh, well, he's a 3-star. How excited should we be about it? But to me, he looks exactly like the type of player who would go to like an Ivy League school or some mid-major school and put up big numbers for a couple of years, and then all of a sudden is one of the top transfers in the country, right? The 6'8" guy that can really shoot it and fills up the stat sheet and things like that. So you get him in your program, you're able to develop him and have him on your roster. You get into one of the better programs in New England as well. Makes a lot of sense from a Syracuse standpoint.
Still 3 weeks out from the start of the season, Paulie, so I'm not holding you to this right now, but has your prediction changed at all from where you were about a month or so ago about this SU football team?
No, I had them at 5 wins, I think, and I'm probably still there until I see the product.
Yeah.
Nothing's happened for any of us to change our opinions.
No, I know. Just as you're hearing more about the team and the individual players,
but
and
when
who's
it's
looked
coming
good
from when it's coming from people that are inside the program,
right? Hard to know what to believe and what not to believe.
Nobody's going to say anything negative.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Our defensive line's been terrible. Like, I can't say that.
Well, I mean, you could nicely say, we're a work in progress at that position.
And the days of, we kind of were spoiled with that. With Jim Boeheim didn't sugarcoat anything. Yeah. Or he would say things like,
he would say whatever was
terrible.
Yeah, he would call it like he saw it, right?
He did once tell us that this is the best team he's ever had, and they didn't even make the tournament.
Yeah, it wasn't.
No, it was not.
That's the narrator. It would not be the best team that he ever coached. Yeah, I've got them at 6-6 right now. I think they're going to find a way to get to a bowl game. I believe in Fran, and I think they're going to find a way to get there. We did switch gears later in the show, and we talked some basketball. We had Jack Donahue on our show last week. We recorded it on one of our off days. He is one of the new commitments for Jerry McNamara and the SU men's basketball program. He's a 2027 recruit, originally from Albany. He's currently playing at the Newman School in Boston Prep School. He's got one more year there before coming to Syracuse. 6'8" forward. We had him on last week, and we let him off by asking about his journey to Syracuse. How did this happen, where he was recruited and ultimately committed to the Orange?
You know, GMAC, he's a great recruiter, great coach. He's just a really passionate coach, and you know, it was very nice to get the offer from Siena, and then once he won the MAC championship, almost beat Duke. It was when he got the job very deservingly. He reached out to me, and we continued the relationship, and it was kind of a smooth transition into the recruiting process from Siena to Syracuse.
If you had to, give a scouting report, I guess, on your game, if you were an analyst and you had to break down Jack Donahue's game, what would it be?
I think a lot of people are threatened by my perimeter shooting. I think that's the key thing that people see from me. I also like to attack the boards. I like to get offense and defensive rebounds. And then just overall, I just want to be a hustle guy, play hard, and just do whatever I can to win.
Take us through your basketball journey, if you could, a little bit. I know you grew up near Albany, and now you find yourself at the Newman School in Boston. One more year there before you're coming to Syracuse. Kind of walk us through your basketball journey. When did you start playing? When did you realize, I might be pretty good at this? Yeah,
my mom, she's a Hall of Famer at Marist, so basketball's always just been in our family. My dad played in high school as well, so it was at a young age I was going to be always playing basketball. And then I just really grew up and loved it, and started taking it serious towards like 7th, 8th grade, where I really wanted to pursue it and see how far it can take me. And
being from the
yeah.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm from the Albany area. So I went to a private school called Christian Brothers Academy. And then, and then I played for New Jersey Shore Shots, which was a tough travel days of practice, but it was all worth it because I was able to get exposure on the UAA circuit, which led me to Newman and then got me to Cuse. So,
growing up in Albany, were you a Cuse fan growing up, or?
I was actually season ticket holders at Siena, but I did always love Cuse. It was definitely a priority in my mind.
I know you went through a little bit of a health scare, right? Last year, I was reading the article from Donna DeTote. I know Donna, she's a good friend of ours, spoke with you recently about the surgery that you went through last year. Walk us through that and how things have been going since then from that perspective.
Yeah, it was a tough time for sure, but during the May Live period last year, I was noticing symptoms where I would just, the first few times that they were happening, where like my heart would beat super fast and like my jaw would lock up and my vision would go blurry. I just thought I was like playing maybe too hard. I just didn't think it was as serious as it was until it kept going on, and basically every time I played. So I came back home after that live period and I did some tests, and then they sent me down to New York Presbyterian Hospital and I did the surgery down there. And how you doing? How you doing from it now? I'm doing great. I'm 100% recovered. It's a blessing that I am able to do what I am able to do now, because a year ago, a little over a year ago, I was on the hospital bed wondering if I was being able to play again.
Yeah, and along those lines, I would imagine that when your career is in jeopardy like that, does it make you maybe appreciate it a little bit more now that as you said, you get to do what you love to do, and that was close to maybe getting taken away from you? Yeah, it definitely puts a lot of things in perspective. You think you have a hard practice, and then when I was in the hospital bed, I was like, damn, I wish I had that hard practice again. So it's definitely a change of perspective. Oh, that's amazing, and it sounds like from what you told Donna that your relationship really got solidified with Jerry during that time as well. Can you speak to his support, I guess, during that time, and his support since then?
Yeah, he was great through it all. I mean, he showed. I mean, I live 5 minutes from Siena, so he came over. Before the surgery happened, we talked. He was it was more of like a personality. Like, it wasn't even really recruiting. It was just kind of like getting to know each other better and just like being there for me when I needed it. And then when after the surgery, when I was in the hospital, he would FaceTime me, check in on me. It just was a special connection. And that's what really took my heart in the recruiting process.
You gave us a little scouting report on what you can do. You've got 1 year left in Boston before you head here to Syracuse. What are you trying to accomplish this last year? What areas maybe are you looking to improve upon before you arrive on campus at Syracuse?
I mean, I want to improve on everything. Nothing's perfect in my game, so I'm gonna work as hard as I can to improve my body, get faster, stronger. I'm gonna try to get better on defense. I'm going to try to just get my shot better. I'm just going to try to work super hard and see how good I can get in this year, so I'm ready to hopefully play by freshman year. And I have full faith in my two coaches, John Carroll and Justin Perrone, in helping me at Newman. So I think I'll be ready.
You look at Syracuse basketball, it's obviously a brand name and, a very popular brand name. You said you grew up in the Albany area, probably right around the time you were born. Jerry was going through Albany, leading the team and helping to lead the team to a national championship. Last 5 years, they haven't made the NCAA tournament. What are your thoughts on where this program stands right now? And I guess the direction the program is going with Jerry taking over.
Yeah. I mean, I think Coach GMAC's a winner. I mean, you've seen his resume, and it's pretty strong. So I think he'll carry that with him to become like. I think he'll do good. I really do. I think it's going to be really good. I'm excited to see what he does this year, and then when I get there, I hopefully have a positive impact on helping the team win.
Anything else, Jack, that we didn't touch on that's important to you that you want to get across to our listeners and our viewers today?
No, I'm excited to step on campus and play hard and compete every day in practice and just try to help the team win.
Seems like a really good kid. And again, Jerry's in the mix for a couple of top 50 point guards in the 2027 class. And that is in addition to whatever he's going to accomplish in the portal next year. You hope there's some roster retention. Seems like Jerry's got some momentum here early on during his tenure at Syracuse.
All right, Steve. You ready for National Days?
I'm ready.
National Sons and Daughters Days.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Both of them.
Tell your kids.
I feel like it should be one or the other, and then you can split it up and have 2 days, but okay.
National Presidential Joke Day. You got a good president joke? No?
Off the top of my head, I do not.
Why was Herbert Hoover the best president, Steve?
I don't know.
Because he gave a damn.
There you go. Did you just read that, or did you have that?
Okay. What president starred in sci-fi movies?
Sci-fi movies.
Ronald Reagan.
Okay.
Reagan.
Yep.
Okay. National Raspberry Bomb Day, which is a dessert, and something that outraged us was that sand, Steve, was in the Toy Hall of Fame.
Yes, it is.
It's National Play in Sand Day. So go play in some sand.
Okay. I saw the Strong Museum was closed over the weekend because they had a power outage. So hopefully they're back up and running, and people can go view sand in the Hall of Fame.
What U.S. presidents were the greenest, Steve?
Were the greenest?
The Bushes.
Okay. You should have stopped at your first one. Like, your first one was like mildly funny. I would have just stopped.
Why did the 38th president dine and dash? He couldn't afford it.
All right, you're done. We gotta go.
What's Michelle Obama's favorite vegetable? Broccoli.
Oh gosh, these are awful. Your first one was your best one.
All right.
We got to go. For Paulie, I'm sorry, everyone, that you have to put up with him. I'm Steve. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll do it again tomorrow.
Download the WSYR Plus app on your TV to stream News Channel 9 for free. Just go to your smart TV, search WSYR Plus in the App Store, and download to start streaming today.